let's talk about Jonah Bolden. Have you seen The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler, Bonnie?
Yeah.
You know
One
that
of my
scene...
few really films of Sanders that I really enjoyed. That
Okay.
isn't half an hour too long.
All right. Well, you know the scene. You know how I think his parents died when he was young, and he's at that. No. His wife leaves him at the altar, or fiance, whatever you want to call it. And then he goes to that party, and the guy goes like, "Oh, aren't you that guy who that girl walked out in the aisle? You must feel like shit." That's kind of Jonah Bolden in this instance. After that game 2 win against the US, it must be like, you know, when Pippen sat out the game and Kukoc hit the winning shot. There's certainly a big feel of that, don't you think?
Yeah, I think he's made a huge miscalculation. I think he should have recognised, and I think the decision was made before that game, because as soon as he saw he was behind Landau, that doesn't look good for the brand. And so even though he played really well in game 2, I reckon the decision had already been made, because if I'm him and I haven't made that decision yet...
Game 2 changed your mind?
Yeah, I'm going to go, hey, I did pretty good. I'm actually going to see a lot of time here. I might be able to knock this guy out of the starting lineup. You know, who knows, you know. And I'm going to get to play. So, no, I'm sticking around. Because now, you know, you're sitting there and Australia beats the USA and you're not a part of it.
Oh, you'd feel like a right turkey.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe... Where were you when you heard the news? Or did you read it in the paper or...
No, I think I saw it on Twitter. I think somebody tweeted it, and I was like, "Oh, you're kidding, aren't you?" Oh no, or was it the Andrew Gaze? I think I heard an Andrew Gaze radio bit.
I think
someone sent me a link to that.
That's what I heard it on. I obviously got fed that through Twitter. I just thought, oh boy, this is a bad thing, and it actually reminded me. And I texted you about this, that I saw something in your book that reminded me of the situation. Do you know what I'm going to read?
No, I don't.
Okay. This is from the chapter from Mahervellous, Deja Vu, page 149 if you're reading at home. No one yet knew of Bogut's volatility, temperament, or penchant for the unpredictable. Late in the tense close battle with Puerto Rico, Gorgon substituted him out from the contest. All I know is it was getting close to crunch time, and it was a very tight match, Mar said. I was sitting on the bench watching the game. He comes off and absolutely spat it and told Brian to F off, and that he didn't want to go back on the court anymore. He's not getting any plays run to him. All the players are getting run for Matt Nielsen, and none are getting run through him. I mean, he's 19 years old. He's getting fed a lot of stuff from family, and I guess whoever else is talking in his ear at this stage, so he absolutely lost it. I'm not going back on and stuff like that. So everyone's trying to settle him down, and then Brian comes back down along the sideline and says, "All right, Bogut, you're in." He's gotten up, thrown the towel on the floor, and gone back on. He's told Brian to F off, not right to his face, but has just screamed it. Bogut returned to the game, but the battle was lost, Australia going down 82-87. Whether Bogut was correct in his assertion that insufficient plays were being run for him largely was irrelevant to the Boomers' cause. Looking over the page, it wasn't over. At the end of the game, he just spat it, Mar said. I was no longer in the core leadership group, but when we got back to the athletes' village, Bogut was adamant he was going to pack his stuff and leave the Olympics. We were all in shock. The core group and the coaching staff naturally found out about it and were in crisis talks. Finally, they had talks with him and talked him around, getting him to come back and play the remainder of the Olympics. We still had some opportunities to do something special. To Andrew's credit, from that point on, when he decided to continue to play, he came out and played really hard. But for him to stick around and play the way he did, especially in the next game, was very, very big. Not only that, he came in and apologised to the team for his behaviour. That was pretty impressive for a 19-year-old to face up and do that. And when I read that, probably about a couple of weeks ago, and when I heard this Bolden thing, I was like, almost the same thing. Do you remember researching that and writing that?
Oh, yeah. Now that you bring it up, because I didn't know what you were going to reference, but yeah, now you bring it up, because I remember that. And it only made me feel better about him.
Yeah,
about Bogut and who he is, and who he was. Because, young guys, you do stupid things when you're young, and you think you're actually being clever or smart or doing the right thing, and you're behaving like a bit of a twit. And you can look at that later and go, "Oh, I wish I'd handled that differently. I wish I knew now. I wish I knew then what I know now, so I could have handled that with greater maturity." I think this is going to be one of Bolden's regrets, because now when you come to picking that Olympic team, and you know that Ben Simmons is going to walk into it, you know that Ryan Broekhoff is going to walk into it, you've pretty fair idea that Thon Maker will be there. So you start to go, and the five guys and obviously Landale's doing all right. So so we've got
Baines
6
maybe holds on. I don't know his age, but
Baines.
Is he? How old is he?
Oh yeah, in a year's time. It's only 2020 next year.
2020. Sorry, I thought it was I mean the year after, or the Olympics.
No, yeah, Tokyo is only a year away.
Oh no, he's there. Sure.
So you've got your 5 core guys, then you've got Landale, and now you've got Simmons and Brokoff and Thonmaker and Dante Exum. You know, it's like maybe when we get to that point we go, do we need Bolden? It's like, no, we don't. We needed him last year, and he spat the dummy. Sorry. And now you're thinking, oh, geez, my brand would look good running around at the Olympics.
And I just thought, I wonder what the conversation was about getting him to stay, and I just hope that the core group wasn't too cemented, and an age bracket that couldn't understand the what is a gripe of a 23-year-old. I hope they would, or I really hope Bogut pulled them aside and said, listen, I've been in this situation with you. I've done this, and I'm telling you from experience, don't do this. And I actually really still hope that the door is open.
Well, I would expect that because, again, your core group is your older guys, but they're all NBA players, so they all understand the NBA's requirements and how you can go forward in the NBA and how your brand and all that is important. So I don't think they're going to be jumping out on him from a great height. I think they would be more conciliatory in their tone. And yeah, I would wonder if Andrew remembers that of himself at Athens. It's 15 years ago, so you know, but that would be a really good reference point for him to sort of have used with Jonah and said, this is what happened to me. This is how I was feeling, and I was really pissed off. But you know, it didn't do me any harm to stay. In fact, it did me a lot more good than harm.
And I agree, and I think it's good that, you know, I mean, I think Bogut's the face of our Boomers team and the face of basketball in the country.
No, I think Paddy is, to be honest.
He may have just eclipsed him now. I think the fact that Bogut plays in the domestic league maybe gives him an edge.
Yeah, that's changed a bit. I'll give you that. Yeah.
And I think that if he could just say, like, listen, I've done this, and, you know, this is where, you know, arguably the face of the Australian basketball has, where I have been and where I can come from, and I really hope that they don't just shut the door, as I said. And I just think...
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you get to that point where it's a toss-up between him and Dengadell maybe, or him and somebody else, and it's like, well, you know what? And him and Nick Kay. And Nick has maybe a really good World Cup, and they want to reward him for that. It's like, well, you know, he didn't do himself any favours.